Warning! This video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and a Mad Max! I'm back with another video. It's about Star Wars Celebration. George versus Kathy. The grudge match. The celebrity death match. Remember that show? Is there a grudge? Answer that. I believe there is. And I think it's mainly because she chose Kasdan over Lucas. And one of my previous videos was behind the scenes. Lucasfilm is the two divisions, the two cliques, Kasdan and Lucas, and Kathy chose Kasdan, and that's why she fails so hard. But will George be there at Celebration 2019? Will Kathy be there? But while I was preparing this video, and this is really sad, I wanted to Google, and I really couldn't find a definitive answer. I wanted to Google if George is actually going to Star Wars Celebration 2019, because that's the real story. That's where you really see what's happening. And unfortunately, the top 3 search results were, and you could really just replace George with Star Wars, and it's pretty apropos to the state of Star Wars. Is George still alive as a search? The #1 search. Is George dead? Is George Lucas alive? Those are the top three search results for George Lucas. That explains the state of Star Wars. He sold it for the franchise to continue, for all the workers, the fans, and for the property, for the love of all that. And he can't even take it. More Star Wars is being produced than ever before, and George Lucas, the creator, is missing. And the president of Lucasfilm is even harder to find, unless someone's giving her another award for nothing. Now, all I could find was that there is the main reason why George might show up to Celebration is there's a 20th anniversary on Monday, the last day of the celebration, so that George can have his time with his fans for the anniversary of The Phantom Menace, and away from Kathy's BS announcements. One of my my best prediction videos was the George Lucas strong message to Kathy Kennedy. And I think he's still giving that strong message. I'm not covering for you anymore. I don't think he's not under contracts like Mark Hamill. Remember that the last celebration was so horrible to watch how it destroyed Mark Hamill. I cannot believe the delusional fanboys that think Disney Star Wars is actually good. How can you say that these movies are good for Star Wars when the creator of the franchise wants to hide or doesn't even give a movie reaction for one of his original characters with Solo? Or how he has ignored, along with Mark Hamill, the champion, the hope of Star Wars. The New Hope is depressed about it. He's more Jake Skywalker than Luke Skywalker in real life. He's depressed about it. We're depressed about it. Do you even know if Mark is coming? I don't think he can take another press tour, or I can either, watching him watching them abuse him on stage just to promote a mediocre product when they never gave him the opportunity to be Luke Skywalker again. Remember how grumpy he was at Celebration 2017? Isn't it just sad to think about the panels he was on and how he was paraded on stage while one of his best friends, Carrie Fisher, is gone, and then the biggest joy in his life has become his biggest pain. And that's pretty much how I imagine it is for George too. I really believe there's bad blood between Kathy and George. And if he does show, I doubt they will share the stage for one moment. I think they're just putting the Phantom Menace on the last day of the schedule so these two will actually not face off. It really shows the disrespect for the prequels too. Put it on the last day when everyone's already gone. I also want to do a video about George versus Kathy as president of Lucasfilm to show how much he did while actually making the trilogy, the prequel trilogy. Interviews, press. Well, in comparison, Kathy hides. I thought this would be an interesting topic because besides the announcements that will be made at Celebration 2019, who appears at Celebration really tells the other story. How long will Kathy be on stage is another big question for me. Is she going to try to abuse George the way she did Mark at Celebration 2017? Or act like he's involved? That BS? You could say George is directing Star Wars again when he was there for his one scene for Solo. The other reason this is so interesting is because behind the scenes, they were crumbling at Celebration 2017. Carrie passed away, so no reshoots for The Last Jedi. They didn't know what to do, so they left that garbage as is. Then Kathy's go-to plan for all Star Wars movies productions, let the director do whatever the hell they want, and then bring on a veteran director to shape it up and reshoot at the end. Collapsed. That's why I think they left The Last Jedi untouched. It's because Carrie's passing threw a wrench into their plans. It's more important to keep a skid release schedule than have a quality Star Wars movie. They were turning out McDisney Star Wars meals with no real value and then trying to fix them and patch them together at the end. And then suddenly they couldn't. So what do? They tighten their grip on other productions like Solo and then failure to launch Obi-Wan. So that's why this is so interesting to me. It's because 2017 Celebration was a disaster, especially in retrospect. Try to go back and watch those videos now, knowing the true state of Star Wars after The Last Jedi. Go back and you'll see the cracks, big time. The drama behind the scenes. Disney Star Wars Episode 9 cannot get me into theaters. But if there was a documentary on behind the scenes during Kathy Kennedy being president of Lucasfilm, you know, without the sheen of a Disney production, I would be first in line. That's actually a very interesting topic question. So I'm going to put a pull up for this one. Pick one. Would you rather see Star Wars Episode 9 or a documentary, a true documentary about the behind the scenes of Disney Star Wars? Also comment below. Because Disney Star Wars is pathetic. Watching this train wreck is the only thing entertaining about Star Wars right now. That's the truth. I'm more excited to watch this shit show this weekend than to see Episode 9. To see what kind of BS announcements they're going to try to pull or act like they have it together now when they never did. They never had it together. What I find hilarious is after all the mistakes they made since Disney took over, there's this consensus among show Star Wars media that, oh, they have it together now, they have a slowdown, they're making the right decisions, they're fixing everything, and they're bringing the fandom together. Can you really imagine that this regime with Kathy is suddenly making the right decisions after all the missteps she made? And the announcements will bring the fans together? I actually hope for that, but I doubt it. The reality is they're trying to deprive the fandom with news and movies, putting a slowdown to create a false demand. A typical marketing tactic when your product starts to slow down in demand and value, you create a scarcity so fans will demand it. You're upset with The Last Jedi? Well, you don't get anything else but Episode 9 now. You don't get any Star Wars story movies. You complain, that's all you get. Acting like a scolding parent to a child. That's how they're treating the fandom. So, to bring it back to the start of the topic, please answer these questions. Do you think George will be there? Will George and Kathy share the stage? That's the one I think never is going to happen. I think if George does show up, he's not going to share the stage with her. And what do you think of the 3 most Googled searches for George Lucas about the state of Star Wars? Because I really tried to find some info on if he's actually going to show, and all I could find is George Lucas still alive? Is he dead? Is George alive? That's sad. That really shows the reality of Disney Star Wars. And I thought it'd be fun to include some of my favorite George and Kathy thumbnails from my previous videos. If you haven't checked this one out, I think I was right on point on this one. I think not giving a reaction really sends a strong message to Kathy. And I think he still is. And I don't think he's going to support her mistakes at this celebration either. Shocking reaction to Solo, one of the greatest characters he ever made, and he doesn't even give a press reaction. That is shocking. You know how much crap I got for this video? He still hasn't commented on that movie. And then this is just one of the funniest ones, because this is the reality. Hey George, can you comment on Lando's robot love? Nope, not sorry. That's all that's important for her. So, thanks for watching. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I'm trying to recoup and get ready for celebration. This is the calm before the storm. So, see you in the next one.